When we talk about the end of the Wizarding War, the story always seems to center on Harry Potter's incredible victory. But what if that's only half the story? Today, we're going to look at the other, often overlooked half. Not how Harry won, but how Lord Voldemort himself, step by step, engineered his own epic defeat. Let's really dig in.
So, here's how we're going to break down this incredible self-sabotage. First, we'll reframe the whole narrative. Then we'll get into his quest for immortality and how it, ironically, made him weaker. We'll uncover the one ingredient that completely poisoned his big comeback. And finally, we'll look at the fatal mistakes he made right at the very end.
All right, first things first. We have to completely reframe how we look at this whole conflict. Yes, Harry was brave. No one's denying that. But the story, when you look closely, is less about a hero's triumph and more about how the Dark Lord became the true architect of his own downfall.
You know, for years, the big question has always been this one. Was Harry Potter just destined to win? Was he the chosen one, fated to succeed no matter what? It kind of feels like that sometimes, right?
But maybe, just maybe, this is the better question to ask. See, Voldemort's defeat wasn't just about some prophecy or Harry having plot armor. It was the direct, predictable outcome of his own massive character flaws. His arrogance, his ignorance, and his obsession with grand gestures over actual strategy. So let's look at his number one goal, achieving immortality. This should have been his ultimate trump card. Instead, the very method he chose to live forever planted the seeds of his own destruction, starting with two absolutely catastrophic mistakes.
Okay, just so we're all on the same page, a quick refresher. A Horcrux is basically a magical safety net. You hide a piece of your soul in an object, and even if your body gets destroyed, you can't truly die. Sounds foolproof, right? Well, not the way Voldemort did it.
Just look at the difference here. On one hand, you have the smart, strategic choice. Hide your soul in something no one would ever think to look for. A random pebble, a single grain of sand. And then you have Voldemort's choice. Huge, legendary artifacts. Objects with a famous history, a known story, and a clear connection right back to him.
And that's the whole key right there. His ego wouldn't let him choose something insignificant. His Horcruxes had to be trophies, worthy of his own perceived greatness. And in doing so, he left behind a psychological fingerprint, a pattern, that a mind like Dumbledore's could easily follow, turning an impossible treasure hunt into a solvable puzzle.
But that brings up a huge question, doesn't it? Finding one Horcrux is one thing, but how on earth did Dumbledore even know there were more? How did he land on the magic number 7? How did he know when the job was actually done?
Unbelievably, he just told someone. As a brilliant but arrogant student, he couldn't resist showing off to his professor, Horace Slughorn. He just had to ask about splitting the soul into 7 pieces, basically laying out his entire master plan to the one person who could one day expose it.
Think about that. By leaving Slughorn alive, he left a living witness. And that memory, once Slughorn finally gave it up, became the literal roadmap to his own destruction. Without it, the Horcrux hunt would have been a guessing game, a blind search that could have gone on for decades.
All right, let's fast forward. We're at his big comeback tour. After years as this pathetic, shadowy spirit, Voldemort performs a dark ritual to get his body back. And yet again, a single choice, driven by his need for symbolism, ends up poisoning his entire victory.
The recipe for this dark regeneration potion had 3 key parts: bone of the father, taken unwillingly; flesh of the servant, given willingly; and blood of the foe, drawn by force. The first 2 were pretty straightforward, but that third ingredient, that's where he had a choice.
And this is the moment it all goes wrong for him. The potion just needed blood from any enemy. Any at all. But Voldemort, in his classic style, insisted it had to be Harry Potter's. Why? He wanted to symbolically crush the magical protection that Harry's mother, Lily, gave him with her sacrifice.
And the irony here is just wow. In his attempt to overpower Lily's protective magic, Voldemort actually absorbed it into his own veins. He took the very magic keeping Harry alive and made it a part of himself. He literally created a lifeline between them, meaning as long as Voldemort was alive, Harry could not be killed by him.
Okay, now we're at the finale, the Battle of Hogwarts. Voldemort is, for all intents and purposes, winning. The good guys are on the brink of defeat. And yet, right in his moment of supposed triumph, he makes 2 final, mind-bogglingly bad decisions.
So he blasts Harry with the killing curse in the Forbidden Forest. His great enemy is lying on the ground. But then, and this is just baffling for a wizard known for his paranoia and absolute control, he doesn't even check for himself. He sends someone else, Narcissa Malfoy, to confirm the most important kill of his entire life.
But see, Narcissa couldn't care less about the Dark Lord at this point. She has one thing and one thing only on her mind, her son. She feels Harry's heart still beating, but all she whispers is a question about whether her own son, Draco, is safe.
She looks the most powerful dark wizard in the world right in the eye, and she lies. He is dead, she declares. And Voldemort, in his supreme arrogance, just buys it. No questions asked. This one lie changes everything, allowing Harry to be carried back to the castle like a prize, which in turn leads to the final destruction of his last Horcrux, Nagini. Which brings us to his last, and maybe most pointless, mistake, his obsession with the Elder Wand. The thing is, he didn't even need it. He was already winning the war. The resistance was shattered. But no, he had to have the ultimate symbol of power.
See, he got the rules completely wrong. He thought to master the wand you had to kill its previous owner, so he killed Snape. But that's not how it works. The wand's allegiance transfers when its master is defeated or disarmed. Draco had disarmed Dumbledore, and then later, Harry disarmed Draco. So the true master of the Elder Wand was Harry Potter.
So when he steps up for that final showdown, he's holding a weapon that is loyal to Harry. The Elder Wand could not kill its true master. His own killing curse backfired, and he was destroyed by the very power he so desperately craved.
So when you put it all together, the picture is crystal clear. Every single critical mistake he made can be traced back to his core character flaws, his arrogance in picking Horcruxes that were basically a treasure map, his ignorance of love magic and wand lore that he considered beneath him, his sentimentality in needing that symbolic victory over Harry, and his blinding overconfidence which let him get tricked at the finish line.
And that leaves us with one final haunting thought. If Voldemort had just made one different choice, if he had hidden his soul in a pebble, used any other wizard's blood, or just bothered to check Harry's pulse himself, would we be telling a story about a very different kind of hero? Or maybe no hero at all?